Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today I wanted to share a personal tip, a practice that I've been keeping up with for a number of years at this point and has really helped me out to kind of just get out of ruts, to get over those bad days, to just, motivate myself and give myself some pep talks. I think one of the things that we tend to forget when we're having a bad day or a bad time or, a bad moment, a creative block, we tend to forget that the last time we had a bad day, we got over it. Right? Like, it's a very simple thing. Obviously, it's not like if you're having a bad time, it's consistently and always been bad for you. There have been bad times and then you got over them and then you move past them and then you're having a bad time again, right? But it was temporary then, and we have to remind ourselves that it's temporary now. Now, what happens though is a lot of times when you're feeling sad or you're feeling down, you feel like, oh, this is it. Like, this is the longest stretch of difficult time that I've had. You feel like there's no solutions, because obviously there are solutions and you'd be motivated, hopefully. You feel like there's not much that you can do. However, obviously, like I said, the last time something like this happened, you got over it, and there must have been a reason for you getting over it, right? So the practice that I'm talking about, what I used to do was, before I used to write whenever I was sad. So I never really kept a diary as a kid, but I got a little bit older, and in my late teens, mid to late teens, I would say, I started to keep a diary, and I would just vent on paper. Like, if I was feeling sad, if I was mad, I wouldn't really talk about it to a whole lot of people. That's just how I deal with it. I take some time, I reflect, I brood, I reflect, and then I get over it. And maybe that's not the best way, but instead of me being mad at people, I just was mad at the paper and I would just write it away. Or if I had to work through some feelings, I would do that first on my own, and then I would talk to people and kind of get over that. But that being put aside, I mean, I was young and, I know better than that, and I should be communicating obviously with people. But lucky for me, I guess, but I felt more comfortable writing stuff down as opposed to necessarily saying it out loud when I was heated in that moment, or if I was really down and I didn't really want to talk to people and I just wanted to deal with it on my own, work through my feelings and untangle the wires in my mind and then get back to things. Having said that, that doesn't mean that I wasn't working through things. Even if I didn't talk to people, I did work through things, and when I was in a better place, I did end up talking to people. So I just want to put that out there, that it wasn't some, unhealthy thing that I was doing, that I wasn't talking to people and I was just like shunning everyone out and just, it was just me in my diary. It was nothing like that. But what I'm saying is that I find, looking back today, I find myself lucky because I did end up writing a lot of stuff down, and so I continue that practice up till today. But what I used to write about before versus what I write about now is very different. So before, I used to write when I was feeling sad, when I was unhappy. I just felt like there were all these emotions in me, or this frustration that was bottled up, and I had to get that out of my system, and so I would write about it. But then something changed in me, and that was that I started to write when I started to feel better. First, I was writing when I was upset. Then things obviously got better. Either my problem got solved or emotionally I was in a better place. But I usually used to forget to write in that situation, right? I would just write when I was upset and that would be it. But then one day I realized that if I was having problems, a lot of the times I found answers to those problems within myself, through reflection, through just, kind of being in a better place. And I knew exactly what I was going through, what were my problems, what was my thought, my mindset when I was not in a good place, right? So if I was sad, if I was stressed out, if I was frustrated, whether it was school, assignments, friends, social life, whatever it was, I knew exactly what I was going through. No one else, I mean, even if like I told people, but no one else really knows though where you are mentally, right? Or exactly how you're feeling with those problems. What I started to do was, when I was in a better place, super inspired, super motivated, super elated, super happy, like I would have all these like positive thoughts and ideas in my mind that I was like, wow, I really don't want to forget this. Like, this is amazing. Like, I wish I would have someone telling me this when I'm down, because this speaks to a lot of the things that I go through my head, a lot of the thoughts, a lot of the things that I have trouble kind of working through when I'm not feeling my best. But it just felt like it was just the perfect words, just the perfect ideas, just the perfect counter arguments to my to my problems, but they were coming from within. So what I started to do was, in these, super optimistic, really inspired moments, I would start to write whatever my thoughts were, because it felt like a personal pep talk to myself, right? It was really catered towards me because, like I said, it was my problems. I knew exactly what I was feeling, what I was thinking, and the things that inspired me were directly related to these things, right? So I could use these ideas that were really inspiring to kind of write down a pep talk for me to read or remind myself later when I wasn't feeling my best. Now that's evolved a little bit. Before, I just used to kind of write down things, ideas that I thought would help me, that I just kind of came up with myself. But since then, I've read a lot more. I have exposed myself to a lot of material, a lot of philosophies, ideologies that have helped me. So if I read something, if I watch a movie, or listen to a song, or have a conversation with a friend, like something that, anything external as well, that I found really helpful, I would write it down, just because I did not want to forget it, just because it was, these were my words coming back to me in my most inspired. So we go through different moods, we go through different types of days, and so you're not necessarily going to remember all the times that you were inspired. There, it's bound to happen. So for me, it was really helpful that I wrote these things down. The first year that I wrote stuff down was 2013. This was the first time I started to write. So this was actually just a planner I'd picked up at Indigo. It started off as just me writing about like school stuff, and then it just turned into other things, which basically were advice to myself. And it really helped me, just because I felt like it was tailored for me. I felt like I was not just focusing and documenting for myself to remember the hard times, but more so the inspired times. I choose to remember those ones, because the hard times, they teach you lessons and all of that's great. But the happy moments, a lot of times we tend to forget, because we're so caught up in just kind of being happy in that moment that you don't kind of dwell on it for too long. You don't think about it too long. You don't pause to reflect and things like that. Whereas when you're a little bit sad, things slow down, and so you're thinking about it a lot more. You reflect a lot more, I find. At least I do. What I'm trying to say is that this practice of me writing things down in my most inspired state, whatever that might be for you, whether it's after a social gathering you had with friends and you just realize, oh my god, I'm so lucky to be surrounded with such great people, or to have had some conversation that you want to remember, whether it's a quote that you want to remember. But I would just write down the thing maybe, or the idea, and just a short reflection on it at least, so that I can go back and kind of read it and be inspired and be motivated, and just kind of be in that place again where I was when I was that inspired. So this kind of relates to a previous video I had done on reminders, and I had mentioned in that video as well that I tend to write. So this is one of the ways that I did my writing, and I used writing to help me and have it be a reminder. So what started off as me just venting and just kind of letting this emotion and these thoughts out of me really turned into the best thing I'd ever done for myself, which was continue to write, but focus on more positive things and focus on things that really hold value for me. And what holds value for me might be different from what holds value for you. These journal entries that I've kept over the years for myself are really just a compilation of the things that mean a lot to me, hold a lot of meaning to me, and that I can kind of pick up any day and say, wow, yeah, that I forgot about that, or like, wow, yeah, that was really inspiring, or that's really thoughtful, or that's really meaningful, and they will always hold value because they came from a very inspired place from me, myself, and I. So I hope that tip really helps. I hope that you do start to keep some sort of a reminder for yourself. And this one I find really helpful because it is very personal to you. Like I said, what I have in my journal entries and my diary might be very different to what you will put in yours. But what I have in my journal entries I know is really important to me because, like I said, it's handpicked by me. These are my thought processes, as opposed to kind of like going on Pinterest and just doing like a inspirational quote search and finding like, oh, some of these don't really hold a lot of meaning to you, or some of these they sound a little fluffy and just rainbows and butterflies type of situation, but it's not really relevant to you. So So I really recommend this practice. I've been doing it for years, like I showed you. This one was from 2013, but I still write today. I still, like, even though I am filming videos, I still write and still hold that practice dear to my heart. I don't write every single day necessarily, but I do write when it means something to me. So I mean, some people do write every single day, which is great, but I'm just saying, like, you don't have to be that strict with yourself. It doesn't have to be, you know, work that's going to get published somewhere. This is just for yourself. So you can write, you know, in point forms, you can write, you know, in short, like, you can write shorthand. You don't have, your writing doesn't have to be perfect. You can type it out if you like. But what I would really suggest and encourage is that you do try to keep some sort of you know, documentation of these positives, of these highs in your life, of these inspired moments in your life, so that you can get inspired by them over and over and over again. So I hope this really helps. I hope that you do try it out, whichever way, whether it's writing, whether it's doing voice notes to yourself, whether it's kind of writing out a quick note on your phone, whatever it is. But the point is that you're keeping some sort of a documentation, some sort of a catalog of all these moments that you're feeling super elated, you know, you're feeling super inspired, and there are lessons or thoughts that you want to hold on to and you want to be reminded of later on. So that's all I have for today. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please remember to like it and share it. And just a reminder, I do make my videos usually in English first and then in Urdu. So there will be an Urdu version of this coming out. So if you know someone who might prefer that one, you can share that one as well. So until next time, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Khuda Hafiz.